Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Poncho Joe's here.
Hey, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Sal? Is that you in the shower? Oh. Oh. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Ah. Oh.
Why, Ken?
Why, Joe Zaso? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Well, it's a Halloween, so I thought I would do sort of a psycho sort of homage.
Isn't that a bit cliched?
Well, I don't know. You're the horror king. I mean, if it was like a scary musical like Lestat or Jekyll and Hyde, those are two horrors right there.
Oh, man, come on. If you're gonna go with cliches, you might as well go with the staticky TV set. How's that sound, huh?
We're on cable access. That's a given.
Or the mysterious phone caller. Hello? He's calling from inside the shower.
Well, how many people you got in there, Joe? Whoa, what's that? Anyone have any horseshoes? Time for breakfast. Joe, I told you, we don't have a budget. This isn't a prop night.
Oh well, I guess it's now time for the Joe Show.
Who are you? To some, I'm known as Lieutenant Angelo Santana. But mankind will soon know me as their desolate one, the fallen angel who will rise to claim his kingdom.
Master.
Don't worship me. I don't want a pitiful coward in my army. Now you'll learn something. Scum.
For the people out there who don't know Joe Zaso, can you tell us a little bit about what
Who is Joe Zaso?
Yeah, who is-
Renaissance man, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an actor and I'm a producer of low budget horror films and indie and what you call art house kind of weird cinema and such. And I have been in a lot of films that have shown at Showtime, or the kind of films I should say at Showtime. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning kind of things. But the films that are made in Germany, Italy. Now soon will be another one made in the UK. And I pay homage to a lot of films from the 70s and 80s in Italian horror. So that's more my ballad, is kind of that kind of cinema, more or less. Not classic horror, not modern horror, but just kind of that the kind of stuff that I found important as a kid and such, and the kind of stuff I'm trying to bring into today's youth because I don't like today's films that much. So
you were more because the Italian style horror films.
yeah, like the stuff from this. Like my favorite director is Dario Argento, who has done a lot of things over the years. He's had his ups and downs, but he's always been inspirational to me. And something about, I don't know why, but the Italian horror films always just have that certain. They have their flaws. I mean, there's bad dubbing and kind of various production value problems, but there's a spirit to them that just I find really compelling. A lot of people feel the same way, and that's why I just try to take that sensation, that structure, and bring it into a modern filmmaking. So it just sticks with me. And yeah.
I still can't figure this out, Sandro. The situation in Italy is much different than the United States. There really aren't any serial killers here. A serial killer is someone who slaughters
for reasons like inadequacy, sexual or social or...
And so on. But Italy is full of frustrated people.
Yes, but American society is a much more competitive one. We expect so much from each other. In Italy, life is not such a contest. It's much more tranquil. That's why I'm here.
Now you say that you did, you do like more the low budget type stuff, but I mean, I don't know. I sometimes find that when a movie is too produced, too slick, it's not as scary. There's something about it.
Well, they have too many bright lights on at all times when you have big names attached to everything. I mean, I think the bigger studio films never come off as, it's because, like you said, they're too slick. There's something about them that's just, it looks like a theme park almost. Some films, it's just the way they're just too happy appearing. They're not savage enough. They're not dark enough. They're not experimental enough. So that's why I think a lot of times the underground stuff, the grindhouse kind of stuff, is always more fun to me. So
right, and and there's also something about maybe if the lighting isn't perfect or like there's a little shakiness or something.
The crudeness, yeah.
Right, so that lends more of like a realism to it, rather than smooth, like tracking shot or something. Now, with some of the films, I know everybody asks you this, but but it's good to know. Like, what are some of the films that you first saw that you said, "Oh man, I gotta get into this"?
Let's see. Movies like, my favorite horror film of all time is The Omen, the original Omen, not the new stuff. Okay. And I remember petrifying me as a kid, so that just gave me a sensation forever that stuck with me. But movies that really made me want to go to college and become a filmmaker and all that stuff, like Gremlins. I mean, this is like we're going back to I was like 13, but still, it motivated me. Stuff like that, Gremlins, Creepshow, Carrie. I mean, those kind of things. And I have to admit, I didn't really get a taste for fine filmmakers like Fellini and that Woody Allen and all that stuff till later in life. But that motivated me. And it's funny because there are a lot of, especially nowadays, there are a lot of young filmmakers who they need to learn about fine filmmakers from the past, the proper kind of filmmaking. But what motivates them also is stuff like Quentin Tarantino. I mean, although I'm not a fan of Michael Bay, but still, if stuff like that motivates them to make films, great. But they just need to learn more. So keep it going. Learn. It's not just about cut.
Now, when you saw these films and you're a kid and stuff, did you think, I want to be in these films, or I want to direct these films, or I want to make these films? I
think just make them, actually. I was really more into making films, producing films, or directing, just all those things behind the scenes up until my late teens, and then I started getting into acting, to get to that age. And one of the things I did during and after college, I pursued the career in acting. In fact, I went to Hollywood for one summer. It was the summer of '92. And I found it was difficult to get agents. It was because you're like one of millions that are trying to break into the business. And I decided at one point to apply my filmmaking skills and the connections I had with my collaborators, my colleagues and such, and start my own company called Cinema Image Productions. And what happened is it just kept growing and growing. I was an actor producer, and I was also helping wannabe directors and wannabe effects people build their resumes. So with each film, they just kept growing and growing. And I was pursuing my dream, but like from the back ends, more or less. Still, I'm still rising, little. I'm still haven't arrived yet, so I'm a long way from there. But
well, I think you've arrived in certain regards. I'm not somebody who is, so like a horror fanatic. I like horror movies, like scary stuff, definitely. But I know who you are. So
thanks to the internet. So,
yeah, but for several years now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that amazed me, I know how hard it is to produce stuff and do things like that, and how much work it takes. But you started this has been 20 years you've been doing this, right?
Yeah, since teenage years.
So you started doing this before it was really affordable to do anything. Even though it's low budget, this is still more expensive than now. You can get a program and edit it on your computer.
It's unbelievable now, especially now that everything is digital. Back when I was doing it was the mid 80s, and this is back when everything was released on VHS back then. So there was no DVDs, there was no internet, there was no VOD, or what we call video on demand. Yeah. It was all done that way, and anything that was of a professional quality had to be on like 1-inch tape or 3/4-inch tape to start off with, or film. And even that, was back then. Now it's kind of obsolete, but that was considered very, very expensive. You didn't have the outlets you have now. You didn't have video equipment at every reach and such. And so it was an expensive hobby, more or less. And I remember the first camera I ever worked with for video was like this big. It was for VHS. And it's still to this day, everything's green when you look at it. The thing is, it's gotten so easy to make films nowadays, and so easy that oh, we have a little guest here, it's a little doggy. Hey. Hello, just join us. This is Gordon, by the way. Not my dog, but he just pops his way.
You.
Everybody goes, oh, it looks like a little grizzly. Yes. Be nice.
You're okay, Gordon.
Don't steal my thunder. Anyway, nowadays, because technology's improved so much that everyone pretty much can make a movie, but the thing is, a lot of people don't put any thought power into writing. They don't put any thought power into anything other than just, the flash of the production values and such. And the thing is, I mean, you can make the slickest looking thing you've ever made, but it still needs that base of a good script, good acting, good. So that's. But the thing that's great nowadays, I mean, I just wish we had what we had 20 years ago. I wish what we had now.
No. Hello, Mrs. Stream. It's me, Blaine, from the gallery. Please don't say anything, but I know who the killer is. The killer is here in the gallery. The killer... Who is this? Hello?
Who was it?
Wrong number.
And I mean, it's shocking what you can do as far as editing something, getting it on the internet. And even this film movie I just did in Germany called Timo Rose's Beast, there was a few scenes that we had to film here in the States. And Brian Norton, director friend of mine, filmed a few scenes here in the city. And what he did was he filmed them, he uploaded them onto his computer, he put it onto AVI files, they call it. We put it onto SendSpace, which is a thing where you send large files you can't. And the guy in Germany took them, downloaded them, edited into the movie. I mean, a matter of a day. Whereas way back when, I mean, you had the two knob system of editing, you had everything. Yeah. It's shocking what you can do. So
let me ask you too. You said that like a film like The Omen is your kind of film. So you're not really into the sort of like Saw,
not as much. I mean, even as here I am. I mean, I sound like a hypocrite because here I release a movie called Barricade, which is like very much like Saw. But I mean, personally, I'm not into the extreme gore. I mean, I like it. It's a nice touch here and there. But I like more psychological, boring kind of drama thrillers. Like for example, a movie called The Other, which is made many years ago. Is all talk. It's all talk and just build up. But I find that more refreshing than watching geysers of blood spilling because it's just. More of this up here. So
yeah, when you talk about Barricade, I was shocked. I watched Barricade. I was like, whoa, that's really gory. That's really gory.
That's the goriest movie I ever made. It was just one of those. It was it's one of those.
We can outthink them. We can get out of here.
The predators, they don't need to be smart. Just strong.
I never bought into that whole only the strong survive bullshit anyway.
Talked a little bit about Sarah Palin recently. Wow, have people been talking about what you said? Have you noticed that?
Well, I did say that interview was given right after she was announced, And I think that my initial instinct was probably pretty correct. It is, I don't know where God's love is in there when I listen to her. I don't get that. I don't get, if someone professes and they hold up a banner as speaking for God or whatever, I think spreading hate is disgusting. Spreading lies, spreading hate. Now, I'm from Washington. I know all about spin, and both sides do it, about what someone really said or what they think. But this is a transparent attempt to misinform people on the fundamentals and the rights and the freedoms in our lives. And I think John McCain should be ashamed of himself. And the glee and the joy and the headiness, it looks like she's, that nouveau famous, that because she's getting a cheer, she thinks it's okay. It's not okay. Tell me what part of your God, Miss Palin, would condone what you're doing.
That actually.
Started.
I'm like, doo-doo-doo, moving along. That's pretty.
Hey, it's Joe Zaso, and you're watching That's Kentertainment.
Okay, you have these films, and they are available, many of them, and you told me before that you have a thing where you're just like, yeah, those earlier films, I have better stuff going on now. I don't try to promote the earlier ones as much.
I mean, I'm proud of all my films, but what happens every time I make another movie, it seems to be better and better, and then what happens is I just kind of take the old ones and push them the old. But I mean, like if I was gonna single out any 2 or 3 movies of mine, I always take the newest ones, But
so, what are your favorite ones that you've worked on?
My favorite ones I've worked on. Let's see. First, actually, may I?
Oh, what is that?
This is a movie I was telling you about, the big hair before I was telling you about. It's called Five Dead on the Crimson Canvas, and this is a movie I made about 14 years ago. It was shot on Super 8 film in silent film, and it was entirely, every single sound effect, everything was redubbed a year later, just like the old European horror films, because they filmed all those films without sound, and everything had to be invented, and that was the manner of how they made those movies back then. We did it strictly because we had no money.
Some weather we've been having lately.
Bella ragazzo.
Yes, it has been hot.
Everyone had to come back. They had to watch their mouths and literally re-give the performance. We had to put the sound effects. Every time somebody closed the door, you have the clicking sound and everything. And it was a lot of work. It was like making the movie twice, basically. But
it's almost like syncing up to a cartoon or something.
Pretty much, yeah, basically. I mean, that's how a lot of those older foreign films were. It was all, we were having on a set. If 2 people were having a conversation like we are, they'd be having hammering in the background. Somebody would be ordering lunch over there. People would be talking while we're talking. But then what would happen is when they would go to redub the whole, loop it later on, everything was made fresh. I mean, it does have that kind of hollow, artificial sound to it. It doesn't sound as natural as if you was sync sound, but it still has a certain quality about it that gives it that's like I was saying, that special, dubbed foreign film feel to it. So, but making that film was tough. It was something I look back very fondly. It was one of my first productions. I remember we had a nice premiere and everything. So that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
There are other films of mine that are not favorites, but Barricade was a very happy experience. That one I did in Germany a few years ago, and it was just because I've worked with other German filmmakers who shall remain nameless.
Wait, did you have like a story about like someone you should never? I think I read an interview with you, like never work with this person. The scariest experience, right?
Exactly.
Who is that, Joe?
I wonder. If you do an IMDb, what's the word? IMDb. If you do a search and you look at other German movies, not directed by Timo Rose, you'll see what I mean. But just things that were a little.
That's all right. He won't see this. He's in Germany. And then, as an actor, the different roles that you've played, you're also a model.
Bottle,
I guess
yes.
if you Google Mr. Joe here, you will find, and if your safe search is off, or whatever it is, you'll get a whole different.
Or if you have kids, put that safe search on. Or if anybody,
put that on. So
any relatives I know, turn that safe search on, please. Thank you.
So so you've done some artistic
music,
right? Okay, so now I mean. Are you also like a trainer? I mean, what are all these things?
Nah, just narcissist. That's is that what it is? Well, the funny thing is, I mean, I have no interest in sports. I don't watch sports as much. I have to say that's one thing I feel bad is that I see so many people get into baseball games, hockey, I would like to be into it, but I'm just not. So, but I think the only real outlet I have, athletic outlet, is just to work out. It's something I do. You know,
okay.
And gotta do something with it.
And then you get to be on greeting cards. His butt's on the greeting card. It is. Well, it is. I don't know.
You'll see.
You could buy him at your local Hallmark. No, I don't know. Bring Joe home. Yeah, bring a little Joe home. So, and you were also Elvis once for some.
He did some digging around.
Playboy? Oh yeah, I do.
A long time ago, when I was living in Los Angeles after I graduated college, I was just there for one summer, and at the time I didn't like Los Angeles because it just seemed kind of alien. I did extra work on Playboy's Secrets and Confessions. All I did was a party scene. It was just a masquerade party, but they had me playing latter-day Elvis, and I was in the lame.
Really?
And believe me, that wasn't so bad. But then they because I didn't have the beautiful thick hair that Elvis had, they put about 40 pounds of hairspray, and I mean raised it. It took God knows how many shampooings to get it out.
Did they give you a wig or something?
No,
I
guess it was cheap production, but
Playboy. Well,
I mean, I had some hair, but not that much hair. So I just remember, I was calling I landed this part where I just happened to call my mom, and it was, she was going to sleep, and I said, "Oh yeah, I landed. I got extra work on Playboy Secret Confessions." She went, "Okay, that's nice." Next day I get a phone call. "You did what?"
Mom's worried.
Yeah, so but it was, again, that was another experience that was just fun to be on the set, just because it was just a masquerade ball, but just like seeing what was going to happen. It was anecdotes. I've done extra work on Korean Basic Instinct movies where basically it was during the winter of '94 when there was one blizzard after another. We thought we wouldn't see the ground again, and a bunch of us were hired to do extra work from this talent company, which shall remain nameless. And we're more or less shanghaied to Palisades to do this thing, and it was a 20-hour shoot, and more or less it was just one of those things where how they say quiet on the set in Korean. Shh. They had a 6-year-old interpreter on the set. She was the interpreter. She would go like, he wants you to go there. It's just like all the people. There were Korean leads speaking English.
Well, at least they're polite. Yeah.
And then everybody, all the people who were dancing in this clubber is like, we're all like, blondes and very Caucasian-looking people. Just like. I remember, but it was just one of those experiences that like I said, the pay was terrible, but the experience was less. But it was an anecdote that will stick with you forever. So I guess it was fun. So
you've had a lot of fun.
I've done a lot of
things.
I've done a lot of things to just not have to be a normal person. I'm a college graduate.
That's admirable. See, you could be sitting behind a desk.
I had parochial school training, which explains a lot of things. A lot of explaining.
So I'm gonna let you be, and because Jesus, this guy's got a lot of stories here.
Can I just say that's Kentertainment?
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. I guess we could find you at.
You can find my movies on Amazon. Do a Google search. You have a picnic.
Right, the latest one, The Beast.
Yeah, Beast.
That's just Beast, not The Beast.
Well, it's Timo Rose's Beast, not to be confused with Michelangelo Antonioni's Beast.
Okay.
That'll be February.
In February, great.
And Brain Cell. That'll be shooting in January.
Okay. And we are in the amazing apartment of Mr.
Brian Norton of Penny Grove. And this apartment in itself is worth an interview. You could just film it, and that's the interview.
This is insane. This is crazy.
Maybe have Brian on one day for an interview.
I think we should have Brian on one day. You're the horror king, not me. If it was something about scary musicals like Jekyll and Hyde or Lestat, those are two horrors right there.
You forgot Carrie.
Oh, right! Oh, he's good. He knows more than his films, yeah.
They'll do like a Barbara Walters thing, or like, so, and you start like, give me the whammy. It's like,
we're gonna make you cry yet.
We were doing the color corrections on movie 5 Dead, and the woman in there was watching. One of the guys was in the movie. He's like the only redhead in the movie, and she's an older woman. She goes, "You just don't see redheads in there."
You don't.
You just don't.
Well, anyway, it's Halloween, so we thought we'd kind of do this. Is it lame?
No. Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, thanks. No. Now you have to say your last name for me, so don't say it wrong.
It's Zaso.
Zaso.
Not Zaso, Zaso, and there's Z-A-S-O, not 3 Z's, 3 S's. It's Zaso.
Zaso.
And not Spazzo, like they used to call me in school, because I do trip over things.
I bet you got Zaso Spazzo.
Spazzo, yes. I'm not Joey Zaza from Godfather 3. We bit the ear, you know, and I'm not Zazu Pitts. And
Zazu Pitts?
Who was the other one? Is there something from Lion King? I think Zaza.
Sure.
The Joe Show.
Silly. And if you ever need a redhead victim, because there aren't a lot of redheads anymore. But
I know.
Yeah, well, it's
real redhead.
What is it? 6% of the population is redhead? 3%? 2%.
2% redheads.
Yeah.
What about blondes?
Yeah, I know. But
I don't have this problem. I'm well gray. That's it. Silver. So.
See, well, I know you shave your. Now, way back when you didn't have it shaved in the earlier films, but now it just.
No, it's well. I used to. Well, I one movie I did called 5 Dead in the Crimson Canvas, which was made about 14 years ago. See, because unfortunately I was not blessed with beautiful thick hair, so back then I had to, gel it and blow it out like crazy. And now when I look back, I was like, oh my god, it's just like it looks like stuck my finger in the socket, to get this, pompadour, It's like.
I almost didn't recognize you.
It's almost all gel. It's like making it look like Yahoo. What was his name? Yahoo Serious?
Yeah. Oh my God! Right, the Australian
The flash.
guy.
That's like a flash in the past.
Wow.
One more time, I think.
We good?
Yeah.
You're back.
Oh, join us.
Oh, Joe, you almost knocked that poster off.
I keep
the
doing it
wall.
over and over.
Is that because you want to put one of your posters up there?
This is actually one of my favorite. I've ever heard. This is a foreign poster for it. Have you ever heard of Squirm?
Squirm, no.
It was a movie about man-eating worms. It was made by. It was
so.
Actually, it was filmed in Georgia. Georgia, like, but it was in
like
basically.
Russia?
I had somebody. I know someone who said that recently. They said, "Oh my God, it's terrible what's happening in Georgia. I have a cousin who lives in Marietta."
No.
I was like, this girl works for a bonding company. That you were serious? That's what made it all the worse.
I love it.